we'll have to wait, I think, for people to enter.
Yeah, just hold on. I'll just let you know. Give it another 10 seconds.
Sure.
Normally, when I do stuff like this, I normally like to wear a blazer or something. But today, my AC is conked, so I just said let it be. I like to wear a blazer. It gives me a sense of going out.
Yeah, we're live now.
Yes. So we have the wonderful Boman IRANI with us today. He's a photographer. He's been a waiter. He's been a namkeen shop owner.
Wafer shop.
Yes, wafer shop owner. He's of course a wonderful actor, and he's also he's begun a new career as producer of Irani movie Tone last year, and apart from that, is running a wonderful script workshop with the Birdman writer Alexander Dinelaris. Is that the way to pronounce it, Pawan?
Alexander Dinelaris Jr. That's right.
Right. And the script workshop, for those of you who don't know, is called Spiral Bound, and it is really instructive, and it's free of cost, which is amazing. I think it's a terrific thing you're doing. And if that's not all, he's also a moderator on and off for the photography session that he does almost every day with renowned photographers from across the country, because as you know, he's a passionate photographer as well. So welcome, Mavan. Thank you so much for being part of this New Indian Express session, and it's a pleasure to see you. We were just recalling the last time we met was on the sets of Happy New Year, where you had a really terrible day. You want to just remind viewers about how tough acting can be?
Yeah, and that's hardly the acting part. That's just the stunting part. And, strangely, for a man who only plays fuddy-duddy old men, I've done a fair share of stunts. And what had happened was that we had to sink an entire set into a swimming pool, And you were there. So the big, huge crane, puts the set into the swimming pool. So it gives you a feeling that the water is rising, if you know what I mean. And there was a hatch for the camera to go in and out, for us to go in and out, one hatch in the set. So it would open up and the camera got jammed, and then I was stuck there for an hour and something. It was scary because there's only this much of space for our heads to pop up between the water and the ceiling of that set. And you were there, talking to Farah and Shah Rukh, and I think I was in there scared out of my mind. Because I was hanging on to something because there were weights put on me so that I would sink, and then we tried to remove the weights. It was arms were too tired. But that's the excitement. That's what the adrenaline does to you.
And that is Farah, who's a friend of yours, doing it to you, whom you've acted with.
Friends do most of it.
Great. So, Maman, you're also playing Farooq Engineer in 83. I'm very excited about that, and I think so are you, because he's a childhood hero of yours, right?
Absolutely, Kaveree. It's so strange. I like to tell all the kids out there, all those who love their Virats and their Dhonis and their Sachins and for us, Farooq Engineer, when he played versus the West Indies in Chennai, and he almost scored a century before lunch, and he's this Greek god, with the Greek god looks and with a Greek god athlete straight from Athens and Olympia, bashing the West Indies, and we've seen all that. And I met him when I went to England for a holiday during the World Cup. And it was such a strange thing that while we were loading the van with my entire family and grandkids and wives and, what am I saying? Into the van. Kunal is the wives, because Kunal is always, and then the manager comes and tells me, Farooq Engineer is in the lobby at the Taj in London.
Right.
I go up to him and say, "Hi, Kemcho. Hey, come on. Oh, so nice. Where are you going?" I said, "I'm going back to home." He said, "Don't go." I said, "Don't go? Everybody's in the car." He's saying, "Going to the airport." He said, "No, don't go." I So I said, no, drop them to the airport and come back. I said, no, what are you talking about? He said, stay back. In a few days is the India-Pakistan match in Manchester.
Right.
Come and watch it with me. You can see it from the big famous balcony.
Wow.
I said, wow, but I got to go. So he says, okay, we hugged each other. And I went, I sat in the car, and my wife, being the beautiful Zenobia that she is, I told her this happened. She says, you know what?
Do it.
Come home, come back in 3 days.
Right.
You can do that. You can do that for yourself. Come back, spend time with him. He's your boyhood hero. He's offered you to stay in his house. I'm not a good house guest. I feel very awkward, but I've never stayed in anybody's house. I stayed in his house, and we had the best time. I hung out with him. He took me for the match. I could do some research for my show. But I want to tell all those kids who who love their Dhoni, and they're such a boyhood dreams come true if you really want them really that hard. And it was like a boyhood dream. I can't tell you.
Wonderful. It sounds like a film script already,
isn't it?
And you're doing a lot of that now, Boman, aren't you? You're you're co-host of this script workshop, which you do every single day, which is called Spiral Bound. Talk a little about that.
I'm so excited that you asked me this. This is the most progressive thing that I've done in a long in years. You've
done many things, Boman.
Sorry.
And you've done a lot of progressive things.
It's so important. I'm not co-hosting. I can't bring Alex down every day on the Zoom call.
Right.
But Alex started it all.
Right.
7 or 8 years ago, when I set out to write my own script, I wrote a script, and I did a lot of reading, and I did a lot of research and all that. And I wrote a script, and then I met Alex outside New York University once. He was then he was a playwright, and I asked him, had he done any movies? And he says, yeah, I've done one movie. It's an art house film. It'll come, it'll go. It's one of those experiments. And I said, doesn't matter. And I shared my story with him, and he said, it's such a beautiful story. And if you need anything, send me pages, and I'll just read them and give you notes. I said, my God, this lovely young, he's not that young, but this young man who, younger than me, this is a guy who would be happy to help me with my script. So he gave me some pointers, and I said, you know what? I got myself a guru. Time flew by, and 2.5, 3 years later into that relationship, that's my granddaughter. Danish, keep it down, Danish. Yeah.
How old is she?
She's 1.5.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
You don't look very grandfatherly, Boman.
Sorry?
You don't look very grandfatherly. So
I can't help it. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. I can't help it. There's nothing I can do about that. So anyway, going back to this. So 3 years later, within the friendship and me trying to rewrite my script with his... he went and won an Oscar, So I said, which was that film? Which is the film? So that same old film that you said will come and go, the art house film? He's saying, yeah. He's saying, I never thought that film would become as big as it is. It's become a cult film now, Birdman.
That is, of course, Alexander. Pronounce his second name, please.
Dinelaris. Just say Alex. He won't be
Alex Dinelaris, who wrote Birdman, which was an astounding film, wasn't it, Boman? It had
astounding.
Michael Keaton, who was it was a comeback film for him.
It was a huge comeback, a very brave thing to do.
Yeah. Right.
But what happens is that, fame does funny things to people. And I thought he'd disappear out of my life. That friendship was over when I thought he'd won the Oscar.
Yeah.
Strangely, the friendship became stronger for some reason. I don't know how that happened. And then when I launched my company, Irani Movie Tone, I said, instead of throwing a big bash and a big red carpet affair and have a party and, we'll have DJ and music, I said, let's inaugurate my company with a workshop for writers. And I thought that would make so much sense, because I think today what we lack is the science of writing. We may have great stories, we may have great story ideas, but they don't get translated into great screenplays. And that's the problem that I had. So I flew Alex down, and I invited every student that is in the area, Pune included, FTII to whistling, to everybody, plus all the script writers and young directors who wanted to be part of it. And we had this big party, which actually was just a workshop of 5-6 hours. And that continues today. But he's come to I conduct all the teaching workshops myself.
Right.
Online.
Yeah.
And we've done about 45 sessions. It's like a semester, literally 2 hours almost every day. And then every evening I sit and talk to a couple of students, or I don't like to call them students, they're all practicing writers. Two of the people who come there with their film, maybe a script, a scene they may have written. And I spend about 40 every day, a little time in the evening just to chat with them. I think it's very gratifying. I think it's important. It's time to give a little back, Kaveree. I've had a wonderful run. I'm still having a wonderful run in the film industry. It's given me a lot, everything that I have, actually, including this phone and this laptop that we are chatting over. I think it's time to give back a little. I don't think that's a bad thing at all. I'm very proud, very proud.
What is the script workshop taught you? Because we often lament the lack of good writers in the Mumbai film industry, and we say, oh, they're not given adequate respect. But a lot of that is changing, isn't it?
And it has to see. I think let's not put the cart before the horse. I think it's also that the script writers, we should pull up our socks. Also, the script writers are not paid well, not respected enough, and don't get protected enough. And I think it's very, very important that we have a system where we follow a certain paradigm, whatever the paradigm may be, and try and come up with the goods of solid screenplay writing. I said this before, I'm saying it again. Great ideas, great narrations, for 15, 20 minutes. You tell me a story, I say, I can't believe this story needs to be made. But then to convert it into a 120-page screenplay is the problem. And that requires a little bit of craft and science. Right. That's what I'm teaching. I've been going 7 years to New York, 3 times a year. I attend workshops there myself. I'm just sharing whatever I've learned over the last 7 years with Alex and my other teachers and all the books that I may have read. And my experience as an actor in the film industry too.
Right. But over the years, Boman, haven't you seen a change in the kind of movie making that is happening? The rise of streaming services, longer form storytelling, where characters are developed a little more. How is that? How have you seen that change?
There is a change, Kaveree. There's no question about it. There is a change. I think that the texture and what the word that is bandied around is content-driven films. Yeah. Well, again, the films sometimes are, yes, the content-driven films are great. It's just that sometimes just because a film is not a potboiler entertainer doesn't necessarily mean that the content has driven home the point. Right. And I think it cannot pose as a content-driven film unless and until it grabs the attention of the viewer and becomes a memorable piece of work. It should become a memorable piece of work that you could talk about for the next 20 years. So there is you misunderstand me, it is art at the end of the day, but you make a building, it's science. You can make a beautiful looking building. You can make a beautiful table with inlay. But first you got to make a table that doesn't rock, that is steady, and that's what it's like when you put the inlay. So the intention, some of our films are wonderful. I mean, one of my favorite films in the last few years has been Piku. I'm so thrilled with the way Piku was made and why it succeeded, and how well it was performed and how well it was directed, and mostly how beautifully it was written. So that is something one has to aim for. Even in your entertainer, I have been in every single entertainer that ever was and probably ever will be. But even in the entertainer, there has to be a story structure. You cannot take half an hour to just let's get let's get started.
Yeah.
Let's do grand entries and another grand entry over another grand entry, another grand
Yeah.
entry. And then you say, no, where are we going? Where's the engine? Let's get out of Bombay Central Station. We got to get to Delhi, right? You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I feel even in the entertainment potboiler world, we can do better when it comes to structure.
Yeah. And
Just as I
that's
said, you know, to make a table
Yeah.
with 4 solid legs, and the
Yeah.
tabletop should be flat.
Right. So, how is it working with the students, with the directors, with the what's it feel like? Is it refreshing, energizing?
Kaveree, I can't tell you. I hate to say it myself, uh, uh, but it has been great learning, because teaching is also about learning.
Right.
Teaching reinforces. So, number one. Number two, it's become extremely emotional, because a lot of people are finding there's depression. It's all around us.
Yeah.
There's a loss of hope, wondering whatever we're working on, when will it get made? When will it be screened? Let alone when it get made. Stuff that's getting made, we don't know when it's going to get screened. Movie that we're ready for release, we don't know. When is the release of the next big thing? We don't know. So these are uncertain times, and I think that what Spiral Bound has done is made everyone feels a little more anchored. Everyone doesn't feel so unmoored, you know. And people start in the morning when we collect like this on the screen. Before we start, everybody comes in 20 minutes to half an hour early. We've got 70. Yeah, we've got 70 regular students over there. And that's a huge class to have on a daily basis. It's not just a one-off. It's not a social media event, just by the way, where you say, I got 30,000 people over there. That's not what it is. They are students who check in every morning.
Every day,
and for them, and for me too, it's been an extremely emotionally anchoring experience. People share their little problem. People share their little past. They talk about their hope. So a little bit in the beginning, a little bit in the end, you know, the sign off. But in between, there's great learning. There's great learning, and I'm extremely, you know, it's not very often that I say, you know, in this movie I did well, or this movie. I never talk about my work, but I am extremely proud of what's happening on Spiral Bound. Extremely proud on an emotional level and on a progressive level.
Wonderful. But your work has also given so much succor and so much happiness to so many people. I mean, whether it's Asthana, or whether it's the really nasty real estate shark in Khosla Ka Ghosla, one of my
It's so
favorite.
strange what you just said. He's given so much pleasure being a nasty real estate guy. That's an oxymoron if I ever heard one.
But wasn't he wonderful? There was something so electric about him, you know. So you've always played these characters which are somewhat nasty, but are also very exciting, you know. I mean, Asana was also not a straight guy. And of course,
Loose,
completely. So what is it about you? Is it, I don't want to be racist, but is it the Parsi in you?
No, I'm not so sure. Maybe. I'll tell you what it is. I understood one thing, that, you know, there's a, you know, you've got to make a character that people want to say, I know that guy.
Yeah, right.
But sometimes the character, he should be the everyman in many ways. Everybody's teacher, everybody's principal, everybody's doctor, maybe, you know. I know that guy. But then sometimes the guy that you know may not be that interesting. He could be very boring. So you walk on a tightrope, and the tightrope is to make sure that you know that guy. Right? But then you make him slightly on the wrong side of I know that guy to make him interesting. And the moment he becomes a little too bizarre, you bring him back to I know that guy. So you believe him. It's believable. Believability is it's acting is lying. And how convincing is that lie is the question.
Right.
You know, so I think that I try to identify. Everybody says Vinu Sastri is like my principal. I said, really? Your principal walk like that, talk like that, have that stupid hairstyle? Say no, but something about him. So it is about identifying someone from many, and then making him specific. And that's a funny fun thing to do, you know.
Right. But it's also the beauty of wonderful script writing. You've collaborated so often with Rajkumar Hirani, and there's a particular kind of writing that he does. And, people like Dibakar, whom you've worked with. What are the things that you've learned from these fabulous directors?
Wow. Well, almost everything. It's like an extension of what I did as a kid.
Yeah.
It's like watching all your favorite movies ever since. I always say this. I always say I've watched movies ever since I was in my mama's womb. You know, so it's like an extension of that. So you work to a point where you say now you're working with these guys and you're actually making movies that hopefully will make a mark. And I am so proud to say that these movies are spoken about even today, and you're part of it. But working with them is an extension of what I've been learning all my life. Right. Dibakar used a very lovely word that I want one more take. I want one more take. I said, okay, sure. What is it that you want in that take? He's saying, I'm not so sure. And that's, that's such a nice thing to say. So I said, okay, you're not so sure. I said, then you want another take? Sure. Can you tell me what were you looking for? Saying, I found something very delicious. He used that word. I found something very delicious. And when you taste something delicious, you want to taste some more. So maybe, it's such a nice way of directing rather than pasand nahi aaya. So it's so lovely with working with these guys. Raju and I have collaborated actually even 6 months before the film we start shooting. So he calls me over, we talk about it, we read the scenes, we said, it's so wonderful the way we work, and it's all about trust, and it's all about being interested in cinema, not in yourself. Yes. The moment you say that, what's it going to do for me? You've got a problem. What's it going to do for the film? You don't have a problem. You get what I'm saying?
Yes, and that's the beauty of filmmaking. It's so collaborative, and I think that's what all of us are missing right now. Just the theater-going experience, the feel of being part of collective, where you're sitting there in the dark, just watching the magic. It's not the same on streaming, isn't it?
I hate to say it, but no.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but no. I'm missing it out big time.
Yeah. So how do you see that progressing? Do you see shooting resuming soon? Do you see theaters opening? Of course, there are far bigger problems right now, but still.
I think, was it on your little poster? There's something that says the new normal.
Yes.
Okay, I don't like that word for some reason.
Very good. Please tell me why.
I want you to remove that line, because why should we accept this as the new normal, Kaveree? Why should we? Good. Because I'll tell you something. People have been through world wars, the plague, the Spanish flu, Hiroshima, Nagasaki, the big Union Carbide. We have been asked to just stay at home, just to make sure that there isn't a proliferation and spread of the flu. And I think we did great. I think India's done a great job. Look how the USA is struggling. They have no clue, because there's a complete two split country system for some reason. But this can't go on forever. Our Lord will not allow it to go on forever for those who believe, and for those who don't believe, the science will not allow it to go on forever for those who don't believe in the Lord. And I'll say this for sure. This is now not how it's supposed to be for the rest of our lives.
Right.
Please. I'm ever the optimist, Kaveree. Right. And so I'm not saying anything prophetic, and I'm not in a position to say. But at the same time, why are we then saying that this is the new normal? Who are we to decide that? Who are we to decide? So this will open up. There'll be trepidation when we step out into the grocery stores, and people are already doing that. I think the worst example is the guys who went out to buy their booze and they mucked it up for a lot of people.
Yes, I did.
But that was the last wish of my friend Rishi Kapoor, who tweeted it out there. So everything's forgiven in the name of my darling my Rishi Kapoor. But I think if we can understand the gravity of what's happening, around the globe,
Yeah.
and be a little more disciplined, and I think that's what this call is all about. A little more disciplined and a little more responsible. I think we'll be fine. We will be.
And do you feel this discipline and responsibility will continue in the post-corona world? Do you think we'll still be as disciplined
For a while.
till we go back
Till
to
we get comfortable.
yes,
Till we become like the Roman Empire.
yes, that is the danger.
That is the problem. When we take things for granted and we take things so easily.
Right.
I think we've got other problems. We've got problems of, at least people have started at least understanding that there is a crisis like the migrant workers. There is a crisis of people who are daily wage workers. At least people are thinking, and I'm telling you, and I know, and it's so heartwarming to see people going out there and helping and putting them. Yeah. So this is an awakening of sorts, but it's not the new normal.
Yeah.
It's not the new normal.
Point taken, and I hope it isn't. I want to take you back from this very collaborative way of working, which is filmmaking, to a more individualistic, passionate, this passion that you have, which is photography. And
Right.
that's something you take very seriously as well. And you moderate a lot of sessions with photographers. What makes you do that? What makes you so interested in photography, even now, after so many years?
It's not photography itself. I would like to say this, that I moderated just a few sessions, but I presented a complete session of two and a half hours something on my own. Plus I moderated some, and I used to front the first question always and be there so that, but there were some great photographers out there.
Right.
And talking about their life and their work and the way they've changed and evolved. And I'm listening to all of this and saying, this is not about photography. This is about people who wanted to just excel and grow.
Right.
So it's not necessarily about photography. I learned from this beautiful craft about the world, about human nature. But these guys, I mean, the stuff that people have been presenting, I mean, I felt so inadequate. They asked me to present my work, which paled. And I'm very happy and humble to say that it paled in comparison to the stuff that these people are doing. Young photographers, and of course, the icing on the cake was a great Raghu Rai. I'm happy to say that Raghu Rai attended my presentation too, no matter how bad I may have paled in front of him. But the point is, what are these people about is what we've got to understand. Greatness in work is one thing, but greatness when it comes to your ethic is what you learn through photography or anything. Yeah.
And that's what's always been very unusual about you, Boman. I mean, you've always wanted to excel or do the best you can in whatever you do, right? When you were a waiter, when you were a photographer, when you're an actor, now when you want to be a director, I believe, you always want to do something that is the best possible, right? So you set very high standards for yourself.
I don't know. I'd like to set the standard where I try to say, is this the best I can do?
Right.
Is this the best I can do? If I was a waiter, I set out to go to the Taj Mahal Hotel as a waiter. And so when the Parsi manager, the eccentric Parsi manager said, which department would you like to join? And I said, Rendezvous. Oh, it's very good, very impressive. You want to join the best restaurant, the most expensive restaurant in the city, or maybe in India, the most exclusive restaurant, and it's on the rooftop. So I said, yeah. He said, great, aspirational young man. I said, thank you, sir. He's saying, but idiot.
Why?
Go to the basement. Don't start at the rooftop.
That's it.
Start with the foundation.
Right.
Learn how to be a room service waiter. Not that it's the lowest of the job. No, I think there's great craft in that also. But you got to pay your dues, So I believe that even while, so I worked myself to the rendezvous. I wanted to reach the rendezvous. How can I
Right.
not go there? Because that's the intention. If as a kid I wanted to be a writer, director, that's what I'm going to be. But nobody give me a timeline that you cannot do that when you become a grandfather. That's what I have to say. Nobody give me a timeline. I'll do it in my own time, and I'll do it as when I'm good and ready, and I've been working hard for it. Really hard for it, Kaveree.
Right. It's so wonderful to see that work ethic. I wish everybody had that. Tell me a little about becoming a writer director. What is, how much can you tell us about what you want to do, the kind of movie you want to make?
It hits you. You know, I wanted to do this all my life, and I know the story will come my way. One day, I was 7 8 years ago. So Sujoy Ghosh comes to my house to pitch 5 or 6 films,
Right.
and this little log line. He said it in 2 lines. This is a story about this, and I said, I like that, but I want to direct it.
Right.
You think it's yours?
Oh wow!
Yeah.
That's very generous of him.
I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah.
And when I wrote my first draft, the first person I had to go and pay my respects to was Sujoy Ghosh. I went and narrated it to him. And of course, I'm on my 10th draft since. But the first draft that I wrote, I went and narrated Sujoy Ghosh because even though he just gave it and he's forgotten about it. But my duty to him is that I hope I am not corrupting what you had in mind. That's part of the ethic, Kaveree. It's part of the ethic. And then, so there was this log line. He gave me, you know, in a nutshell. I said, sounds great. I started developing it. I wrote one scene, then I wrote another scene, then I wrote another scene. And then I wrote till the interval. And then that's when I met Alex. And he says, you know what? I came to meet you as a favor to a friend. And I was just saying, I'll just meet him, have a cup of coffee and go. But I'm in trouble now, he said. I'm in trouble now. I said, why is that? He said, because I love your story. And I'm married. I feel bound to, you know, be there behind you for it. And sometimes you earn those stripes, and those are very important stripes to earn. And they come only from hard work. People say, you know, your first film, Munna Bhai MBBS was a huge success, and you know, you're an overnight success. I said, sure, it took about 40 years to become an overnight success.
Right.
You know, I think it's very important to understand that there is nothing overnight about success. It takes years. It takes years. Mine has taken a little longer. I don't advise it to youngsters, but I am not grumbling at all.
What as an actor excites you right now?
To tell truthful stories, to tell truthful stories. As an actor, I'd like to be part of truthful stories of films that I should be proud of, my team should be proud of, India should be proud of. I think that's very important to me. India should be proud of. I think when we make a film in India, I think it should be
that you would definitely want to be part of a film like that.
Yeah, I think we should make. I think, wow, man, why didn't we make a film like that?
Yeah.
Somebody else sitting somewhere doesn't say, why didn't we make a film like that? I want the world to feel that way about my country. You know, it's very important to me.
Right.
Kaveree.
You're also part of Jayesh Bhai's Zona, right? Yeah, which is you're playing Ranveer Singh's dad, if I'm not
mistaken. Yes, young dad.
Young dad, of course. Everything you do is young. But how is it working with that very, excitable young man?
You know, that guy, I thought, you know, that he's not excitable. He's excitable, of course, but that's a bad way to describe him in many ways. Yeah, I think that excitability is just the endeavor to put his best foot forward.
Yeah.
There could be people who are excitable at a party. There could be people who are excitable in the house, but they could be useless to me. But his excitement is an excitement to put his best foot forward.
Yeah.
There's no lazy foot forward. Yeah. The excitement is converted into endeavor.
Yeah. And tremendous hard work.
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So when I see that endeavor in him, I say, go ahead, man, get excited.
Yeah.
I'm not going to, because sometimes you see people jumping around all the time. I say, hey, he's draining my battery. I don't need that. But in Ranveer's case, it's incredible how the energy, and I thought I had good energy. I really, yeah. And it's just incredible the way the man wants to put his best foot forward.
When you look back on some of your iconic roles, Boman, which is the one that you find the most delicious, to use Dibakar's words?
The exact Dibakar's film.
Yeah.
Ghosla.
Yeah.
I find it, and I can't call it iconic. In fact, I don't watch my movies again. Once I see that, no, I don't. I can't.
Why is that? Why is that?
I really don't know.
So you just watch it while you're dubbing it, or the rushes?
No. I see it once for sure.
Okay.
For at the premiere or some trial show, or maybe I'll go with family or friends. If it's really maybe a second. That's it.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen Three Idiots in years, and people quote stuff from there. I said, where's that from? I said, from your movie. Then people quote stuff from, well, आपके साथ बैठना है. One guy came and said, आपके साथ बैठो. हाँ, बैठेंगे. I didn't know. What are you talking about, man? So इन्होंने आपके, अरे यार आपके film घोसला आप बोलते रहते ना आपके. Oh yeah, really. I just find it I find it difficult to watch my own movies. And a lot of my detractors will say, yeah, so do we. But no, that's a joke.
I don't think so. But you've also been part of a lot of wonderful light comedies, which were just good fun. What were those films like? What were those film sets like?
I think I am extremely proud of those films.
The housefuls.
Yeah. I get you. I get you.
Yeah.
I'm extremely proud of those films, and I'll tell you exactly why.
Yeah.
I cannot expect every single person from every corner of the country to like a content-driven film, for example.
Yeah.
Okay, or a subtle film.
Right.
And there has to be someone who has to entertain those wonderful folk too. They are our fellow Indians, and I don't expect them to receive every film the way we expect. Let's make meaningful films. Of course we should. Let's make good quality films. But even if they are all and out bloody entertainers, I'm with it because it's doing a noble enough job. It's bringing a smile on someone's faces. My mom, and it's got a lot to do with my mom actually. I don't want to be cynical and say, now I used to watch those films as a kid, but now I've grown. So I'll tell you what my mom tells me. God has blessed you. He's blessed you with talent. All right. But not for a minute think that talent has got anything to do with you proving to the rest of the world that you're a good actor.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
Right.
Your job with that talent is to bring some joy into people's homes. Right. And I think I do that too. And if I do 4 of those, I do 4 for that intention. I'm working very hard to make certain films for my soul.
Right.
And we've got to do both. And I will not shy away from that entertainer. I will not. And I'll say it unabashedly. And I don't even care what people have to say, because there are people who walk up to me on the street and talk about those films.
Absolutely. They adore you in them.
Yes.
And you met some really good, you made some very good friends, one of whom was Rishi Kapoor, whom we sadly lost, right?
Oh, don't get me started. Yeah. I'll turn on a light once Kaveree's become dark.
Sure.
Yeah. Please go ahead. I'm sorry about this.
No, we sadly lost him. It's been a very tough time for many different reasons. Also losing 2 really brilliant, talented actors like Irfan and Rishi Kapoor. I think the film industry has really been buffeted from all sides, hasn't it?
It's been terrible.
Yeah.
It's been terrible. I met Rishi Kapoor in New York, and not for a minute that he ever grumbled. Not once.
Yeah.
He was only talking about where are we going to eat tomorrow? and he's right in the middle of proper full-blown therapy.
Right.
And he's talking about, and he is joking away, and he is yelling it out there. And I just love the spirit of the man.
Right.
I just love the spirit. And Irfan, I had the greatest regard for. The greatest regard for. I called up his manager after he passed.
Yeah.
I don't know his wife. I don't know. I feel awful. I wrote a bit. I called up his manager who was with him all the time, you know. And I just said, I hope you're doing well, because she must be so heartbroken.
Yeah.
And I used to meet her on the set sometimes, and the van was there. And I hate invading people's vans on the set. You know, you're obliged to go and say hello to people. But in Irfan's case, because I really regarded him very highly.
Yeah.
As a gentle soul and as a consummate artist.
Right.
And I used to tell her, can I go and meet Irfan? Saying, of course, you don't have to ask him. No, just go and check and say, I'm coming. I don't want to invade.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just go and just give him a hug and go away. You know, it was, I loved him so much. I didn't know him very well, but Rishi Kapoor and I shared a different kind of relationship.
Right.
He loved my wife Zenobia. He loved my boys. He worked with both of them.
Yeah.
And he you know, he always had something to say about Parsi food, and
Of course.
yeah.
And his drink, of course. He would never go without it.
Lovely.
Your boys are also in the film business. How is it?
Yes.
Oh, one is an actor, one is a director.
No, the boy who was co-opted into a film to act, who doesn't enjoy acting at all.
Doesn't? Okay.
You know, not at all. He did that one film and he was not very happy. And I thought he did a decent job, but all dads say that. He was pretty good in Student of the Year.
Right.
But he's done a short film for Netflix as a director, and he's associate director on Karan's next Takht.
Oh, really? Oh, the film that I hope finally gets made.
I just hope so too. So he was associate director on that.
Okay.
That's a responsibility and a half. And Danesh, my older son, was in production for 5 films now.
Oh, okay.
And now we'll all get together as a three boys of Irani movie tone and hopefully do something good, make something good out of it.
I think we all look forward to some magical cinema coming from you. Thank you so much, Boman. It's been such a pleasure. Is there any last piece of advice you'd like to give to people who want to tell their story, who want to learn the craft of storytelling? Apart from, of course, that they should attend your workshop. I think that should be mandatory. But is there any advice that you'd like to give them?
I'll sound like a broken record, Kaveree.
No.
But I'll say this, that, you know, people think of writing as a good idea. You had a good idea, you think you've got it. Your work is over.
Right.
But when you have a good idea, make sure you have the proper tools to write a good screenplay. And that takes time and that takes practice.
Right.
Otherwise, your idea people will say, okay, I love the idea, let's fund it, let's go do it. People will want to work in the film because the idea sounds great when you have a conversation. But from scene to flip over to scene to flip over to scene takes a lot of craft and dedication and time. So it's the long haul. Getting a good idea is just the beginning. Sometimes you don't even need a great idea. You just need a character who wants something, who wants to get onto a journey. That's all you need, and you can write a lovely screenplay. So don't look for the big idea only.
Right.
Try and understand how a screenplay is written. There is a craft and there is a science. If you could study that, and then forget about it maybe later on.
Yeah.
But at least know the rules before you break them.
Right. Wonderful. We look forward to watching you as Farooq Engineer in 83 as soon as the theaters open. I think it'll be very exciting. He was, as you said, an exciting cricketer, and it'll be terrific to see you as him. Thank you so much.
It's a small part. It's a small part. If Farooq Engineer didn't play in the World Cup, he was a commentator.
He was a commentator, yes.
But I'm very proud. And then, of course, we look forward to Jayesh Bhai Jordar too.
Yes. Thank you so much for being with us, and all the very best.
Thank you so very much, Kaveree. God bless. And whoever's watching, thank you for spending time with us. It was
Thank
lovely.
you. And
Thank
see you
Thank
soon. See you soon. Bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you
Bye.
very much.